I think that in Portugal, while progress has been built through a series of important steps, the turning point, or a defining turning point, was also the adoption of the marriage equality in 2010, and that made us also one of the first countries worldwide to recognize same-sex marriage. I think that the milestone was followed by other legislative advances, so including the strengthening of anti-discrimination protections, and also the real legal recognition of gender identity.
I think for Ireland, probably the real turning point was the 2015 marriage equality referendum in Ireland. That was passed by a very, very large majority, 62% to 37%. And Ireland was the first country that introduced marriage equality by referendum, by popular vote. And that was the culmination, I think, of a long campaign driven to a great extent from the grassroots, by civil society and by people who are very engaged and active on this issue.
In Belgium, the turning point was the adoption of equal marriage in 2003, and we were the second country in the world to do it after the Netherlands, which gave a full-fledged equal marriage. And in 2006, 3 years after, the question of adoption also was made equal. Of course, that came after a few decades of militantism from NGO, and the debate of the parliament before 2003 were certainly not easy, but what is quite remarkable is that when the equal marriage was adopted, the debate vanished in the parliament and also in the society, and that quite quickly it was integrated as a fact of society and was not a subject of controversy anymore.
I think these developments across the European Union, also very much embedded in an EU-level policy framework, which was based on these member state developments, it didn't precede them, very much reflect turning points which happened in Europe in the last 2 decades. But it's also quite clear that on the one hand, these are issues which in many countries and more globally continue to be discussed and sometimes challenged.
There is always a remaining challenge concerning homophobia and transphobia and violence in general on social media in particular. So it's a debate that is still going on. Policies always need to be adjusted to the situation, and you always need to be aware that the pushback can still happen, and that it is a right which is in the law, but still. You need to be awake of new forms of transphobia, homophobia, and to adapt the legislative framework to combat them permanently.
One key challenge remains, that is to ensure that the legal equality is fully translated into everyday life and reality. We know that discrimination and prejudice can persist, and persists in a very subtle form sometimes. And this is particularly important in workplaces, in schools, and in social media, as it was mentioned. So I think that addressing this also requires a more sustained effort in our societies, be it through education, through awareness raising, and also through inclusive public policies that reach everyone in our societies. So the struggle continues.
I'm also quite struck that at school level and kids, the younger generations, there is still a very large degree, as you said, homophobia, transphobia, and education, I think, is not across the board really able to address it fully. I think that remains a real challenge, including as these younger kids will grow into the political system. And that really needs to be a source of attention, and probably also more investment across European Union member states.
I think it's very important that, for Ireland, that the European Union has a shared agenda and a shared vision on this. All our voices speaking together means that we have a greater impact about the broader international pushback that's taking place. And I think that the values that the European Union espouses internationally are really important in ensuring that our agenda of equality and diversity and inclusion is heard. Here in Japan, I think particularly we can have a very positive impact in expressing those values in the way that we interact with Japanese civil society in particular, and the support that we provide in relation to Pride Week and engagement with the work that goes on here on an ongoing basis.
It's also important to keep exchanging experiences on the different legal status, but also experiences on how to fight homophobia and transphobia. As we say, there are countries who have been more efficient than others, and so it's interesting that the government could exchange and see what are the best practices and how to be the most efficient.
I would say that the EU framework provides us not only direction but also momentum, because it is this collective dimension that helps also to raise standards while still allowing each country to adapt the implementation to its own realities, because we have 27 different countries.
To advance this agenda, which I think remains obviously a political challenge here in Japan, there is certainly visible difference between what public opinion seems to think, particularly about same-sex marriage, but also the notion that discrimination should be tackled against these communities, and the progress in terms of legal frameworks. So from that point of view, I think, again, the experiences in member states is quite useful.
If you look at polling in relation to marriage equality, for example, over 70% of the public here. So our experience in Ireland is that once public opinion moves and evolves in a particular direction, then the political process tends to follow that over the course of time.